So credit cards can be an amazing tool to help you build and establish your credit while earning you things like cash back, points, or miles that you can use for free travel, and they also come with a lot of great benefits and protections that you don't get with a traditional debit card, or if used incorrectly can lead you into getting into thousands of dollars of debt, can lower your credit score, and in some scenarios completely ruin your credit altogether. The truth is that credit cards tend to be one of the most misunderstood topics in society, and that's because they don't teach these things in school, and these are things you don't learn about until you get into the real adult world. And I don't want you guys making any of these mistakes or hurting your credit, and so that's why in today's video I'm going to be going over my top 6 beginner credit card mistakes that I see people making, so that by the end of this video you have a good insight on what not to do with credit cards, and so you can use credit cards responsibly to build your credit. So the first mistake I see people making is actually going to be 2 in 1, and that's because these two go hand in hand together, and that's going to be not treating your credit cards like they are cash and not paying your credit cards off in full at the end of each month. So a mistake I see way too often is going to be people using their credit cards to purchase something that they don't need, and it's just a want, and they think to themselves, or they justify to themselves, well, I can just purchase this now and I can pay it back later or worry about it later. Or secondly, people will go ahead and purchase things on a credit card without actually having the money right then and there to pay that credit card off. Now on this channel, you know, we always talk about using credit cards to earn things like cash back, points, and miles. We talk about how you can take advantage of credit cards and use them to your benefit to earn things like free travel, for example. And the biggest problem with not treating your credit cards like they're cash is that each month you carry a balance and you don't pay your credit card off, you're going to incur interest, and you're going to be paying interest each and every month. And this is something that the credit card companies are not only hoping for, but also counting on when they give you a credit card, because they're counting on you being irresponsible with that card, carrying a balance, so they can charge you interest and make money off of you. Meaning that whatever cash back or credit card points that you're earning are no longer worth it, because you're going to be paying interest each month, and that interest is going to far outweigh the benefits you're getting from that credit card. And so what I recommend is each time you're going to make a purchase with your credit card, only make that purchase if you know you have the cash right then and there to pay it off immediately if you wanted to, or if you know that for sure 100% you're going to be able to pay that credit card off in full by its due date at the end of the month. And by doing this, you're going to be able to earn all those great rewards, and you're going to be able to make money off of the credit card company instead of the other way around. And mistake number 3 is going to be choosing the wrong credit card when you're just beginning. So as a beginner, getting your first ever credit card or getting started out with credit is a very, very important decision to make. And that's because the last thing that you want to do is get and be stuck with the wrong credit card for your lifestyle, or even in the worst case scenario, get stuck with a completely bad credit card altogether. As an example, if you're someone who's looking to get their first ever credit card, then of course you wouldn't just go and apply for something like the Platinum card from American Express. Number one, because you're not likely to actually be approved for that credit card, but more importantly, as a beginner, you shouldn't be focusing on these super high premium cards that come with super high annual fees. Instead, what you want to be focusing on doing is getting no annual fee cashback credit cards that not only allow you to build and establish your credit, but also allow you to learn about responsible credit card usage and paying your bills off on time and in full each month in the process. And I know right now you might be asking yourself, well, how do I choose the right credit card? So as a beginner, you want to be focusing on credit cards that come with no annual fee, credit cards that earn you some kind of cash back that is greater than 1%, and credit cards that come with some type of sign-up bonus or welcome offer. And as long as you follow those 3 simple guidelines, you'll be able to make the right informed decision when deciding if a credit card is right for you, and you'll be able to get the right credit card without any of the extra guessing work. And mistake number 4 that I see people making is going to be having too high of a credit utilization. So your credit card is made up of 5 different scoring factors, and of these 5 factors, one of the biggest factors coming in at 30% of your overall credit score is going to be credit utilization. Now, put simply, credit utilization is calculated by subtracting the total amount of credit that you carry as a balance each month from your total available credit limit. So for an example, if someone who had a total available credit credit of $5,000 was to carry a balance of $2,500 into the next month, that person would be utilizing 50% of their credit. And having too high of a credit utilization can have very negative and very damaging effects on your credit score. Now, typically what's recommended for credit utilization is using anything less than 30% of your total available credit. However, from my own personal experience, I always recommend keeping your credit utilization as low as possible and never really going above 10%. And this over the years has yielded me the best results, and it's what I've seen the best results with in other individuals as well. So when it comes to credit card utilization, try to keep that as low as possible and never going above 10%. And I know right now you're probably thinking, well, how can I use my credit card if I have a lower credit limit but not go over that 10% utilization? Well, the good news is that credit card utilization is only reported once every month, and that's when your statement closing date happens. Now, your statement closing date takes place a few days after your payment due date, and that's when the credit card usage actually gets reported to the credit bureaus. And so this means you don't actually have to keep your credit card utilization below 10% the entire time. All you have to do is make sure that when that statement closing date happens, that credit card has a low utilization to get reported to the credit bureau. And to do this is actually really simple. All you have to do is make sure that your credit card is completely paid off a few days before your payment due date, or at least pay it down so it's at a low credit utilization a few days before your payment due date. And so that way, when the statement closing date happens a few days after that, it'll get reported with a low credit utilization. In addition to this, something else you can do is just having a higher available credit overall so that your credit utilization naturally is just lower. So for example, if a person with $15,000 available credit was to use that same $2,500, their credit utilization is going to be much lower than the person using $2,500 out of a $5,000 credit limit. So naturally, as your credit limits get higher and you have a overall higher available credit, your credit utilization is just naturally going to become lower over time. The next mistake that I see beginners making is going to be applying for too many credit cards too quickly. So each time you apply for a new credit card, you're going to receive what's known as a hard inquiry. All this is when that credit issuer is taking a look at your credit profile to see if you're going to make a responsible candidate for that card before they decide whether to approve you or not. And when this happens, you'll notice a drop in your credit score of about 3 to 5 points. Now, hard inquiries do stay on your credit report for 2 years. However, the actual effects of that hard inquiry wear off after about 3 months. So 3 months after you receive that hard inquiry, your credit score will bounce completely back, and it's like that hard inquiry never even happened. However, the reason you want to avoid applying for too many cards at once is because you'll take on too many hard inquiries in a short time frame. If you were to apply for 7 different credit cards in a very short time frame, that means you can very negatively impact your credit score, and you can damage your credit score a lot by actually doing this. Another thing with this is when credit issuers take a look at your credit profile and see that you have a ton of hard inquiries in a short amount of time, they actually look at you as being riskier because they look at that as you're trying to take on all of this credit. So this means that you'll most likely be denied for credit cards, loans, and things like that. So when starting out with credit cards, I know it can be exciting, and I know there's so many different credit cards out there. It seems like a no-brainer to apply for them all at once. However, trust me, with this, you always want to wait a minimum of 3 months in between credit card applications. However, me personally, I always wait about 6 months in between credit card applications, just because when it comes to this, I always like to play it a little bit more on the safe side of things. I'm not taking on too many hard inquiries or damaging my credit score. So to play it safe, always make sure you're waiting at least 3 months in between credit card applications, and anywhere up to 6 months if you really want to be on the safe side of things. And the 6th mistake that I see beginners making with credit cards is going to be canceling an old credit card that you no longer use. So if you currently have an older credit card that you're no longer using and it's just sitting around collecting dust, you might be thinking about canceling this credit card. And canceling credit cards is something that I would always recommend avoiding whenever possible. That's because canceling an old credit card can actually result in a drop to your credit score. So another one of the factors that make up your credit score is going to be length of credit history, and this makes up 15% of your credit score. And all length of credit history is just how long you've had credit cards, how long you've been using credit cards, and how long you've been establishing your credit. But what actually happens when you cancel an old credit card is your length of credit history goes down, and because of this, it results in a negative impact to your credit score and a negative impact to your overall credit profile. So my advice for this is if you have an old credit card that you no longer use, especially if it costs nothing to hold and has no annual fee, I highly recommend you don't cancel that credit card and you keep it active by just using it once every couple of months for something small and then paying it off so the account stays open. And by doing this, you'll see much better results when it comes to building your credit, and you'll be building your length of credit history instead of just canceling that credit card that costs you nothing to hold and hurting your credit score. And that's going to be it for my top 6 credit card mistakes that I see beginners making. But I am curious to know, what are some other mistakes you've learned along the way? Some other mistakes that you see commonly used when it comes to credit cards? So definitely let me know by dropping a comment down below, and I would love to hear from you. If you enjoyed the video and found it informative, make sure to drop a like down below as it helps me out tremendously. And if you're interested in more content just like this where I talk about personal finance and credit cards, then consider hitting the subscribe button while you're down there as well so you never miss a new upload. As always, each and every one of you are amazing, and I appreciate you for tuning into the video today. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day.